Hey, it's your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today. Focusing in on a viewer question that I got regarding what it is to be a scapegoat or have the violations of boundaries that occur with a scapegoat type of relationship dynamic with a narcissistic parent. Or this can also be included with siblings, work associates, your fiance, the person that you're married to. In other words, when they just don't validate the person that you are, when they constantly shide you off, constantly berate you, put you down, keep you relegated in a position, don't acknowledge you, but keep you relegated in a position that's down. They're always trying to one down you. Just look for opportunities to give you the cold look, the cold stare, just a scapegoated position where you're being forced to accept the pouring out of aggression, hostilities, angers, beratement, just a constant battle of negativity and toxicity within this person. So they're basically expecting you to be defenseless. They're expecting you to be a scapegoat. A scapegoat, by very nature of the words, meaning that they are escaping. It's in essence, they are escaping from their own responsibility of their own emotions. They're escaping from their own boundaries and taking responsibility, accountability for their authentic self. So since a narcissist does not have an ability to, or, because lack of their ability of empathy to feel for others, coupled with their heightened sense of superiority, self-importance, and their insatiable need to dominate, control, and overpower others. And this is a 24/7 thing. This is something that they don't engage in momentarily and then let up and then give you a break from being a scapegoat. Once they've targeted you as a scapegoat, they have, pinned you down as the scapegoat. They have assigned you that role. They have given this to you, regardless of your growth as a person, regardless of your accomplishments as a person, regardless of any sort of strides you've made in your life. They're not able to see this. They're not able to witness this. They're not able to validate it. They're not able to mirror it. And oftentimes, this is very disconcerting to the person. So what they end up doing is working even harder to please this narcissist, to get out of the scapegoat position. People will work hard because they don't want to be in a scapegoated position with this person. So what we have a tendency to see in the psychological community is that people then are motivated to work harder and harder and harder to please this narcissist abuser, to develop a mask, if you will, of people pleasing as it works in conjunction with this person. So in other words, because they want to alleviate the pain, because they value the relationship, because they, in their mind, they have idealized this person, or basically feel that this person is so paramount, so important, or integral to their life and their personal development for whatever reason that they have assigned to this person, oftentimes falsely idealized, they then develop a mask which then can become pathological to that scapegoat. They develop a mask, they develop a facade, they develop the codependent situation, they take on values, maybe which aren't authentically theirs, but they will take on the values, opinions of others and really sort of go along with them, go along with the crowd, go along to be agreeable to them, even though when in essence this is not their true feelings. And they know based on reality and their truth otherwise. But they tend to swallow it down. They tend to feel, in the sake of love, that this would be the proper way to conduct their relationship, would be to adopt this facade. Again, it's like a birds of a feather flock together. So in other words, oftentimes what we see, especially in the chronic narcissistic abusive relationship, is that the people intimately involved with them will develop a facade to match their facade. They will develop basically like a secondary persona to interface with their persona. So in other words, because the quote unquote supply person, the quote unquote scapegoat, the quote unquote victim, because they are not validated for their authentic self, and because they're scapegoated, they then try to develop an outer shell, if you will, that will then interact with this narcissist to people please, to pacify them, just really oftentimes is a matter of surviving, but oftentimes it's not their true self. And so the scapegoat, to evade, and to kind of try to transcend this abuse, will then seek to develop a facade to counteract it, but this is usually counterproductive. Counterproductive because they're not validating their true authentic self, their feelings. They're not able to speak their truth because for fear of being retaliated against, criticized, condemned, shut out of the family, shut out of the community, kicked out on the street, no money, no funds, no family, a complete, crisis, emotional breakdown, identity breakdown. And so the scapegoat, because oftentimes they're selected as such, they were never able to be mirrored their true authentic self. So they were never able to be fully accepted, fully embraced for the person that they are, fully received. And that's only in this very isolated family dynamic. The scapegoat, what they need to realize is that this role exists only in the hands of this narcissistic cycle, if you will. This role of being a scapegoat really exists only in that created and confabulated, fabricated pathology circle that it is really created by a narcissist or a psychopathic abuser. So when we talk about no contact, it is here you go. It is you're stepping out of that role which has been assigned to you as a scapegoat. So how do you transcend it? How do you get beyond? Well, realize that being scapegoated, constantly never able to do right, constantly never able to be good enough, constantly the one who is blame shifted for everything, constantly the one who, is the one who is quote unquote crazy, the one who doesn't, fit in. They're assigning you these roles, but they're doing it again as a manipulation and a control tactic to keep them feeling superior, above, keep them feeling like they know better. It's very petty. But oftentimes these people who are also involved in pathological lying, the people who are using you as a scapegoat, are very much involved in a pathological lying behavior to themselves and to others. And so that is part of this sort of very fakey sort of treatment and scapegoating of others. So it's really, it has nothing to do with truth. It has nothing to do with reality. You are not less than. You have a wonderful personality. You have a valid viewpoint. You have true opinions. You have true values. You have true passion. But these have been stifled and suffocated and basically buried under the guise of a narcissistic abuser who will scapegoat you. And oftentimes those who are selected as the scapegoat are the ones who are most sensitive, those with the biggest heart, those with the greatest perception of reality and wellness, and those who really can do the most good. In other words, the people who could call out the narcissist are those who are scapegoated. Let me repeat that again. Those who will call out the narcissist, who can see through the facade, who can see through the illusion, those are the ones who are handpicked and selected by a narcissist to be scapegoated because they present the greatest threat to their facade. And really, if they were to be given life and given their expression of their values, they would see the pathology for what it is. Because of their sensitivity, because of their empathy, because of their adherence to truth, because they're able to see this illusion going on, that they exist and present as the greatest threat to this narcissist or this psychopath's facade, because they are able to be perceptive of it, call it out. So they are in turn receive the most painful position of being scapegoated and blame shifted for that sort of position within in them, and so it provides an outlet to the narcissist. So you really have to recognize this for the dynamic that's going on, and in turn to transcend above it, you do need to validate your truth and surround yourself with people who also validate truth. Not that you're ganging up for a smear campaign. That is not your style, probably. That is not your goal. But when I say validate your truth, I mean write it down. Have it written out. Have it outside of yourself. Even if you don't discuss it with somebody, you'll have a mirror reflection to refer back to you. Because chances are, if you have been scapegoated, you have not received a healthy mirroring in your early childhood. Or you don't have a mentor who can mirror and have this sort of dynamic and interpersonal dynamic with you, and mirror truth with you and exist in truth and live in truth. This is very important in life. You see it in couples who get along, people who are successful. They do have that healthy mirroring back and forth. They do have that validation of values. They're able to live their truth in that mirroring. They're able to, grow professionally. They're able to grow personally. They're able to create some true accomplishments and true goal fulfillment. So chances are, if this is what you are needing, you essentially need to begin to provide this for yourself, this healthy mirroring. So we do that through the affirmations. We do that through the recovery journal, the recovery date, and, creating this new identity of selfhood, which is grounded in truth, your true values, your true passion, and then extending it out into the greater world rather than being sucked into the black hole, which is the narcissist. They do have an energy, especially when you get into the psychopathic, which very much is like a black hole, where it sucks in all truth, light, things of that nature, all information is really kind of in there. So you have to be very careful, and I definitely advocate, if you're being scapegoated, to go no contact, and to really, not be in that role because of its toxicity, because of its destructive powers. And, I really do recommend breaking free and fleeing from those relationships, because they're not grounded in truth. They're not grounded in reality. They only are going to end up putting you in a place where you're not happy, not fulfilled, out of touch with your truth and really your destiny. And it's going to only serve to deprive you from connecting with those who can validate who you truly are, allow you to communicate who you truly are, and really participate in the activities that give you joy, happiness, bliss, contentment, satisfaction, and really bringing out your strengths rather than trying to pin you as a scapegoat for someone else's weakness. Peace and harmony with you here today. I hope these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.